you for joining us on Good Living, and I'm thrilled to be joined now by psychologist and love guru, really, John Aiken. Thanks for joining us, John.
It's great to be here.
It's fabulous to have you here. Of course, you were speaking last night about the launch of your new book, Accidentally Single, which is a fabulous book, I must say.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's one of those books where, I'd heard clients talk to me over the last 15 years about, how they were single, they were frustrated, trying to find the right partner. But then at the same time, they were making key obstacles unknowingly that held them back. And so essentially the book is a sort of a wake-up call for them to say, what are you doing here in the dating game that you're contributing to the fact that you're now still single, and then what to do about it.
So let's talk about some of those reasons, because you've narrowed it down to 15,
Yep.
And they are all kind of key components, really, as to why we sometimes find ourselves accidentally single.
That's right.
Accidentally on purpose, though, sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, one of the common ones I see is always being attracted to the unavailable types. They're married or attached, or they're too young, too old, or they're the sort of person that says, I'm not looking for anything right now, and they seem to try and date those types of people, but it doesn't go anywhere. So that's a common mistake. Also, being too dramatic, too clingy, being hung up on a past, I see that a lot.
A past relationship?
Yeah, that's right.
So there's an ex kind of lurking in the background there that makes it difficult?
Yeah, and when you meet someone, you've got to be free to leap. And often, a problem X in your life, or if you haven't let go of a past relationship, you're just not free to basically move forward with this person.
So whilst you might not subconsciously kind of realise that is going on in the background, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And another common one is having a negative mindset. And, doing the tours, people come up to me and talk afterwards and say, John, I'm struggling here. I can't seem to find the right one, but then all the good ones are taken anyway. Or there's a man drought. Or this one I hear often is people are intimidated by my success. Now, the problem with all of this is that it basically rules you out and stops you from meeting someone special.
So you've kind of got to break down those barriers, really, don't you? And think they're a load of old codswallop and just, move forward.
That's right. And friends can sometimes do that. They say, you know what, do you realise you're putting work before romance? You can't work 100 hours a week and meet somebody. And this book is kind of like that friend that's saying, hey, check out the way you're running your life right now as a single person, and do something about it.
And that's the thing I love about the book as well, is that it really does, it has stories, as you say, from people that you've met over the years, your own stories as well.
Yes.
So it's very easily relatable.
Yeah, look, it was a hard part to write for me, my own personal stories. Certainly my wife Kelly found out a lot about me in my single days. But, the thing was that I wanted to put that in there because I wanted to show people that it doesn't matter if you're a psychologist or you're a florist or a personal trainer, it doesn't matter. You can do these mistakes unknowingly. You might think that you're available to find love, but in fact you're sabotaging yourself without knowing it.
Talk to me about being too bossy or too picky, because that would be a very common one as well.
It's a very common one.
We all think we've got to tick all the boxes, and if people don't measure up, then they're out.
That's right. And while it's good to have your preferences and know what you like and what you don't like, your deal breakers as well, what you do need to be avoiding is basically trying to run your life to strict criteria, and constantly ruling people out, running your life by lists. And what you'll find with these picky people or bossy people is that they're very good at dishing out instructions and reminders and telling potential love interests how they've got to behave and dress and all of that. And ultimately, it simply pushes them away.
Yeah, so it actually has the opposite effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it could be very good in a particular role at work, like if you're a CEO, it's great, you need to be bossy at times. But in your love life, you've got to let people influence you. You've got to give over some of that control. And that's one of the big issues that a lot of people have.
The other one as well, which I thought very interesting, is a lot of people become, too nice in the relationship, and they can't say no, and so then they kind of become that person that agrees to everything that the other partner wants to do, that kind of thing. And that's a commonplace scenario too.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think back to when I was single and younger, I probably did a bit of that, thinking, well, I like this person. I think I'm going to try and be the kind of person that they want. So they can control this. I'll try and agree with them. I won't say no. I'll try and avoid conflict. And of course what happens is you become boring you know, and you're not a challenge, and they're going to move on to someone who's actually going to be inspiring to them.
One of the other things that you identify in the book, John, is and we touched on it briefly before, is kind of defining what you do want, and that's important as well. And I guess that's kind of the things that at the end of the day are going to be the deal breaker for you, the important things. And what are some of those things?
Yeah, the things that are important. Well, I think, you know, when you're looking at a partner, what you want to do is or potential partner, you want to look and think to yourself, okay, what hasn't worked in the past? What is it that I want different from my next partner that I didn't have before? That's a good place to start. And then you start thinking about, okay, if I'm good at relationships and I want to take this to the next level, what are some of the key characteristics in my potential partner that I'm really going to click with? And you might be thinking about parenting and how they get on socially with somebody. Their looks, it might be you know, how they communicate, because communication, you know, is tricky at the best of times. And so all of those things you want to be thinking about, but also in the same breath saying, I'm flexible to meet different types of personalities. I'm not just going to completely rule anyone out if they don't cover this, this and this.
Because you think, well, and I kind of from personal experience as well, when you're young, you do stick rigidly to those kind of things as well. But have you found with your personal experience, I know you've been dealing with, you know, relationships and psychology to do with relationships for 15 years, people kind of do change that as they get older and it doesn't become so strict?
Yeah, they do. That is true, and that's experience talking, you know, and you realise that, you know, you might have ruled someone out when you were young because, you know, their jeans were too short. You know, my wife says to me, don't ever buy jeans that are too short, John. And you get older and you realise, you know what, maybe that's not the worst thing that can happen, and maybe I need to look at, you know, more important aspects. So I think age and experience can certainly help along the way and the way we pick our partners. But I think also with age comes with a drive to meet someone, and you know, you'll see your friends and around you settling down. And I think with this book, what I've realised is that a lot of people are very hungry to know how to do it and to stop doing the things that hurt them in the game of in the dating world, basically.
It's great, isn't it? People are actually now thinking, I've got to take control of this situation and not be afraid to do that. Yeah,
and I think the hardest thing is overcoming a negative mindset that can get in the road, because it's so easy. You sit around with your friends and you say, you know what, I don't know when this is going to happen, and I don't know what women are looking for now, and you know, and what happens is you'll gravitate to friends like that talk about that think about that, and in the end of it, it becomes very disempowering. So if you're single, it's Valentine's Day, it's just gone, and you're thinking, how am I going to do this differently? Start by focusing purely on how great the dating process is, how wonderful you are at relationships, and stop bringing up the things that essentially are negative around you, because that will focus you on that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some great advice, and that's the good thing about that book, is people will be able to look at it, they can look kind of chapter to chapter, they can run through that list of 15 things and think, yep, that's me there, there and there, you know, and sort it out from there, which is great. So some wonderful advice, John. Thank you very much. How's Sydney going, by the way?
Sydney is great. I've been getting onto morning TV, doing sort of relationship segments, and doing a little radio as well. It's all very different over there, but it's exciting. The opportunities are big. And Kelly and I are about to have our first child.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. So that's 5 weeks away. So I think this is probably the last time I'll be too far away from her now.
Yeah.
But we're very excited about being first-time parents.
Yeah, I bet you are too. It's such a wonderful and exciting time of your life. And no doubt there'll be books to follow on that too, John.
Yes, this is one of many that I think I'm going to try and bring out over the next few years.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for joining us, John. And I know last night was a huge success, so
Thanks,
we do appreciate it. Get out there and get that book, Accidentally Single. It is brilliant.